Yeah, so the biggest downside risk to growth for ASEAN, actually for a lot of the Asian exporters this year, is really the severe downturn in the global trade cycle. Well, I mean, the good news is that we're seeing some stabilization here and there based on high-frequency indicators, but we're not out of the woods yet. I mean, we're still yet to see a meaningful turnaround in the global trade cycle. That being said, I think there's still quite some pockets of resilience in the ASEAN, in a lot of ASEAN economies, especially if we look at domestic demand. If we look at private consumption, for now they have been quite supportive. I think a large part is really thanks to the ongoing recovery in the labor market across ASEAN. Actually, for a lot of ASEAN countries, their labor market recovery have not returned to pre-pandemic levels. So on the domestic part, at least it will provide some of the much-needed support to growth, offsetting some of the external weakness we're seeing in the trade sector. So for 2023 overall, we expect to see slower growth, but it's not a recession. And do remember, back in 2022, most ASEAN countries saw very impressive growth because of a reopening tailwind. So this year, naturally, we'll see some base effects. But here, there is one exception, which is Thailand. So Thailand is the only ASEAN country this year where we expect an acceleration in growth because of that influx of tourist return.
All right. And so is that your favorite market?
I mean, in terms of growth, Thailand will be the in terms of growth, then we'll see an acceleration in Thailand's growth. But I think for a lot of the other ASEAN economies here, really it will be slower growth, but it's not going to be a recession. I think that's a key distinction we need to make.
Now, Ian, growth in Southeast Asia, especially emerging South Asia, also very closely tied to foreign direct investments. We've seen reports of it being fairly mixed across the region. Do you think it's going to improve anytime soon? And just how important is that growth outlook going to be pinned on foreign direct investment stabilizing or recovering in the next couple of months?
Yeah, so despite the near-term challenges we see on the trade front, foreign direct investment, FDI actually remains in a quite a resilient spot in ASEAN. And actually, the ASEAN 6 countries that we look at altogether accounted for almost 17% of the world's FDI inflows in 2022. It's quite an impressive performance because the share almost doubled just in 4 years' time. So I think it really reflects the fundamentals or the strategic importance of ASEAN, especially in terms of its supply chain relocations here. So it will really provide hope for a lot of the ASEAN countries when the trade tide turns.